man is rare. That man is feared. In this video, you will learn 10 iron laws of indifference. Laws that strip you from the weakness of the herd and forge you into something colder, sharper, untouchable. The average man will collapse under insult, drown in opinion, burn with rage, and cling to ghosts. You will not. You will master silence, set boundaries of iron, turn criticism into fuel, and let go of every chain that does not serve your rise. This is not philosophy for dreamers. This is a weapon for rulers. If you practice these laws, you will no longer live at the mercy of others. You will command yourself, and in commanding yourself, you will command everything else. If you are ready to step fully into this discipline of kings, to live calm, cold, and untouchable, while the weak tear themselves apart. Like this, subscribe and claim your place in the doctrine of indifference. Most men are slaves to words. A single insult cuts them open. A careless remark shatters their confidence. A whisper of gossip poisons their mood for days. They imagine themselves strong, yet their state of mind hangs on the tongue of others. What kind of sovereignty is that? To be ruled by words is to be ruled by air, cheap, weightless, fleeting. Machiavelli observed that men are moved more by appearances than reality. Words are weapons of appearance. They cost nothing, yet they topple the weak because the weak allow them to. The insult itself has no power. The mockery itself is nothing. It is the reaction that gives them strength. When you rage at words, you prove they have pierced you. When you defend against them, you confess their truth. When you brood over them, you grant them life long after they were spoken. In every case, you hand your enemy victory without him ever lifting more than his tongue. The strong man cannot be owned this way. He does not bend under insult, nor does he rise under praise. He knows that to be defined by others is to be shackled. Their scorn cannot touch him because he never accepted their judgment as sovereign. Their compliments cannot sway him because he never depended on their validation. His worth is his own decree, not a public vote. Picture the man publicly mocked. The weak man bristles, his voice trembling as he scrambles to justify himself. The crowd sees it, and the mocker's blade cuts deeper because the wound is visible. But the ruthless man is unmoved. He lets the insult hang unanswered, his face carved in stone, perhaps with the faintest smile of disdain. Instantly, the balance shifts. The crowd sees it too. The attacker looks desperate, grasping for attention, while the target stands untouchable above the noise. The insult collapses under the weight of indifference. Machiavelli knew that rulers survive not by being loved or hated, but by appearing beyond the reach of petty attack. Words cannot topple a throne unless the ruler himself trembles before them. Indifference is the shield that makes you invulnerable. Mockery becomes impotent. Gossip turns to noise. Even praise loses its ability to seduce. For praise is as dangerous as insult. Both are chains if you need them. The man who no longer bends to words becomes dangerous. His enemies cannot provoke him. His allies cannot manipulate him. The herd cannot sway him. He becomes a fortress of self-command. And in time, his reputation grows. He cannot be rattled. He cannot be reached. That alone terrifies those who would oppose him. For a man immune to words is a man who cannot be controlled. Never forget, words are only air. But once you let them carve into your identity, they become chains. Break those chains. Strip words of their power. Accept only your own judgment as sovereign. Then you will walk untouchable through a world of chatter, while the rest remain prisoners of the tongue. The average man is a slave to his emotions. He imagines himself strong, but one insult unmasks him. A single sneer, a careless remark, and his mask cracks. He rages, he argues, he flails. His enemies smirk, because with almost no effort, they have revealed where to strike. Every burst of anger, every defensive outburst, every trembling explanation is not power but surrender. He has confessed his weakness before the fight has even begun. The truth is this: no one can make you angry. No one can force you into outrage. What others do is present a stimulus. What happens next is entirely your choice. If you react, you have already surrendered your sovereignty. You have declared to the world that your state of mind is not your own, but can be stolen by anyone clever enough to provoke you. And what kind of man allows himself to be owned so cheaply? Outrage is never strength. It is exposure. When you shout, when you spit fury, when you clench your fists, you are not intimidating anyone. You are informing them. You are handing your enemy a map of your vulnerabilities. He knows now what words break your calm, what gestures cut you open, what tone unravels your composure. You may believe your anger shows that you are dangerous, but in truth, it proves that you are predictable, and predictability is death to power. The man who wishes to rise above this pitiful state must learn the discipline of indifference. He must treat emotions like unruly soldiers and force them into order. A feeling may flare within him, but it never marches without his command. The insult, the slight, the betrayal, they arrive, but he does not dance for them. He waits, he watches, he calculates. The delay alone terrifies those who confront him. For most men are reactive. They cannot stand silence. They erupt instantly, exposing themselves like prey startled in the grass. But the predator does not startle. He observes, he waits, and when he finally moves, it is deliberate and devastating. Imagine standing in a crowded hall. A rival hurls an insult at you, sharp and public, meant to humiliate. Every eye turns to see your reaction. This is the trap. If you rage, you prove him right. If you explain, you stoop to his level. If you defend, you confess the wound. But if you simply smile faintly, if you let the words hang unanswered in the air, the weight of silence shifts against him. He grows uneasy, desperate for a reply that never comes. The audience senses it too. He looks like a child begging for attention while you appear untouchable. In that moment, his weapon has broken in his own hand, and without striking back, you have already won. This is the art of choosing reaction instead of being commanded by it. To pause before responding is not weakness, but mastery. Each heartbeat of silence is power, because it belongs to you, not to the one who tried to provoke you. And in that silence, you gain the luxury to decide whether this moment deserves action at all. Often, it does not. Most attacks are beneath you, and nothing humiliates an enemy more than indifference. A man ignored is a man erased. Machiavelli warned that rulers who cannot master their own impulses are ruled by others. He understood that a prince who lashes out reveals his fragility, while one who holds still creates fear. Delay, silence, and choice are not passivity. They are strategy. They make you unreadable, and unreadability is a weapon deadlier than rage. What begins as discipline becomes reputation. In time, men will whisper that you cannot be rattled, that insults slide from you like arrows against steel. Enemies will hesitate to attack because they know it will cost them their dignity and gain them nothing. Allies will look to you for stability, for the strength of a man who never loses himself to the chaos around him. And those who once thought to provoke you will find themselves unnerved by your calm, as if facing something colder and deeper than they can comprehend. To react impulsively is to confess weakness. To choose your response is to declare supremacy. When your emotions obey you and not the world, you cease to be prey. You become the predator who cannot be provoked, the ruler who cannot be moved, the man whose silence cuts deeper than anger ever could. Master this law, and no insult, no betrayal, no act of malice will ever unseat you again. The greatest source of disappointment is not betrayal itself, but the delusion that others should live by your code. Weak men expect loyalty because they are loyal, honesty because they are honest, respect because they give respect. When these expectations collapse, they whine, they rage, they wallow in self-pity. They say, "I would never have done that to him." Pathetic words. The world does not revolve around what you would do. Machiavelli warned that men are driven by self-interest above all else. They are not noble. They are not consistent. They act according to their needs, fears, and desires, not yours. To expect them to mirror your values is as foolish as expecting the storm to obey your wishes. The storm destroys because that is its nature. And men betray, deceive, forget, and disrespect for the same reason, because it is in their nature. The strong man discards expectation and sees men as they are. He does not weep when a friend proves selfish, nor does he rage when an ally fails him. He expected it already. He is never shocked, never blindsided, never disarmed. When loyalty appears, he takes it as fortune, not entitlement. When betrayal comes, he nods, unmoved, because he built his strength on the certainty that it would. Think of the fool who trusts everyone to treat him as he treats them. Every slight cuts him deeply. Every disappointment drains him. His life is an endless series of wounds because he insists the world should reflect him. The ruthless man, by contrast, never grants the world that power. He assumes men are unreliable, self-serving, and weak. And because he expects nothing, he loses nothing. This clarity becomes a weapon. While the herd clings to illusions and cries when reality shatters them, the strong man thrives. He negotiates with eyes open. He allies with caution, and he betrays no surprise when men reveal their true nature. His enemies cannot wound him with treachery. His allies cannot weaken him with failure. He is immune because he saw it coming before it arrived. To stop expecting others to be you is not bitterness. It is sovereignty. It is the refusal to let another's weakness disturb your strength. It is the recognition that their choices speak of them, not of you. Their lies do not define your truth. Their betrayal does not stain your honor. Their cowardice does not diminish your power. The herd cries, "But I would never have done that." The strong man says, "Of course he did." It is his nature. And then he moves forward, unshaken, while the herd drowns in outrage. Never forget, when you expect loyalty, betrayal destroys you. When you expect betrayal, loyalty surprises you. In that reversal lies indifference, and in indifference lies freedom. The weak man cannot resist the urge to prove himself. He clings to arguments like a beggar clings to scraps, desperate for validation, terrified of being wrong. Every challenge to his opinion becomes a duel of pride. He shouts, he debates, he insists, and with every word, he exposes his insecurity. For only the insecure must constantly remind the world that they are correct. Machiavelli understood this weakness. He wrote that it is not truth that rules men but perception, and perception can be shaped. To argue, to insist, to win, every dispute is to reveal that you are ruled by your ego. Power does not argue. Power does not explain. Power acts, and in acting, proves itself beyond debate. The world believes the man who achieves, not the man who insists. Consider the quarrel between common men. They bicker endlessly over trivialities, their voices rising, their tempers flaring. The outcome is always the same: two men diminished, their dignity lost in the mud of their vanity. Contrast this with the ruthless man. When challenged, he smiles faintly, or perhaps concedes with a shrug. Perhaps you are right. He wastes no energy proving himself, because he knows reality will prove him in time. And when it does, his silence will echo louder than their shouting ever could. To kill the need to be right is to gain immense strategic advantage. It lulls your rivals into arrogance. Believing they have bested you, they lower their guard, exposing themselves for the kill. Let them think they have triumphed in words. You will triumph in results. Words fade, consequences endure. The man who must be right wins arguments. The man who is indifferent to being right wins kingdoms. This is not surrender. It is calculation. Every moment spent quarreling is energy lost. Every attempt to prove yourself ties you to another man's frame. To rise above this, you must sever the chain. Let others think what they wish. Let them boast. Let them preen. Let them wallow in the illusion of victory. Meanwhile, you advance silently, ruthlessly, until reality itself bends to you. The masses crave the illusion of correctness. They scream, "I told you so," as if those words hold power. The Machiavellian knows better. Only outcomes matter. History does not remember who was loudest in argument. It remembers who prevailed. Kill the need to be right, and you kill one of the greatest vulnerabilities of men. You become untouchable in debate, immune to provocation, free from the desperate hunger for validation. Your silence becomes heavier than their words. Your calm becomes more persuasive than their fury. And when the dust settles, it will not be the one who won the argument who stands victorious. It will be the one who never wasted his strength on it at all. The weak man spends himself on everyone but himself. He cannot say no, so he bends to every request, every intrusion, every demand. His friends drain him, his colleagues exploit him, his family consumes him, and he convinces himself this servitude makes him noble. In truth, it makes him pathetic. A man who cannot defend his time, his focus, his energy, cannot defend his life. Machiavelli understood that power is preserved by control. A prince who gives away his resources freely weakens his state. So it is with you. Your energy is your kingdom. If you let it be plundered by the needs of others, soon nothing remains for conquest, for ambition, for strategy. Boundaries are not selfishness, they are sovereignty. They are the walls of your fortress. And a fortress without walls is an invitation to invaders. Look at the man who is always available. His phone rings at midnight, and he answers. A colleague shifts his burdens onto him, and he accepts. A friend leeches off his generosity, and he complies. He believes he is gaining favor, but he is only proving his weakness. The world quickly learns the truth. He has no guard, no discipline, no respect for himself. And so others respect him no more than he respects himself. Now look at the man who sets limits like iron. He does not rush to every call. He does not allow his time to be stolen. When asked for more than he is willing to give, he declines without apology. His no is firm, calm, immovable. At first, others may grumble, insult, or resent him. But soon they learn. His boundaries cannot be bent. And what began as resistance turns into respect. For even those who curse his refusal admire the man who cannot be exploited. Machiavelli taught that appearances matter more than intentions. Boundaries project power. They show the world that your time has value, that your attention is scarce, that you are not another servant waiting to be commanded. And the man who appears valuable is treated as valuable. The man who acts as if his time is worthless will be treated as worthless. Guarding your energy means measuring every demand against your ambition. If it serves your purpose, accept it. If it weakens you, deny it. The herd believes they must please everyone, terrified of being disliked. Let them. You are not of the herd. You are not here to be liked. You are here to dominate. Better to be respected for your strength than loved for your weakness. The truth is simple. A man without boundaries belongs to others. A man with iron boundaries belongs only to himself. He moves through the world calm, unhurried, unbroken, because his energy is never squandered. He gives when he chooses, refuses when he must, and in both, he rules. Guard your energy as a king guards his treasury, for once it is spent, it cannot be reclaimed. And the man who has nothing left for himself will have nothing left for power. The herd is fickle. One day they cheer you as a hero, the next they curse you as a villain. Their love is shallow, their hatred fleeting. To build your strength on their approval is to build a fortress on sand. It collapses with the tide. Weak men live for the crowd's applause, trembling at the thought of its disapproval. But in doing so, they reveal the truth. They are not leaders, but beggars. They do not rule. They plead to be accepted. Machiavelli understood this clearly. The opinion of the masses is a tool, not a master. The ruler who bows to it is doomed, but the ruler who manipulates it can wield it like a weapon. The difference is detachment. To care nothing for praise or scorn, to be unmoved by either, is the mark of sovereignty. Only then can you bend perception to your advantage without being bent by it. Think of the man who presents an idea and hears mockery. The weak man flushes red, scrambles to explain, burns with shame. The herd has wounded him, and because he reacts, the wound deepens. But the strong man smiles faintly or does nothing at all. Their laughter rolls off him like rain on stone, and soon the laughter turns uneasy. For what kind of man remains unshaken when ridiculed? The answer: a man above them. To detach from opinion is not to ignore information. Even insult can be useful. It reveals envy, weakness, or fear in those who hurl it. But it is intelligence, not identity. You gather it, use it, and discard it. You never wear it. You never let it shape who you are. For once the crowd can sway your self-perception, you are theirs. They will push you one way with praise, another with scorn, and in the end, you will have no will of your own. Machiavelli advised rulers to accept being thought cruel if cruelty preserved their power. Let them call you arrogant, cold, ruthless, foolish. It costs you nothing. Appearances are malleable. Reality is yours. What matters is not that they approve of you, but that they cannot move you. The ruler who fears being hated is enslaved by fear. The man who shrugs at both hatred and love is untouchable. Detach from the opinions of the herd, and you sever one of the deepest chains of weakness. You become immune to mockery, indifferent to praise, free from the hunger for validation that consumes lesser men. In time, this detachment itself becomes legend. The herd whispers, "He cannot be rattled. He cannot be swayed. And though they may never love you, they will fear you. And fear, as Machiavelli taught, is more reliable than love." Provocation is bait. It is a trap set by those who want to expose you, to see you lose composure, to drag you down to their level. The weak man falls instantly. He spits insults, raises his voice, and thrashes like a fish caught on a hook. He believes his anger proves his strength, but it only proves he is predictable. He dances to the tune of his enemy, a puppet with strings pulled by words. The strong man does not take the bait. He understands that silence humiliates more than fury. When insulted, he does not rush to defend himself. When mocked, he does not snap back. He lets the words rot in the air, unacknowledged, unreturned. The aggressor grows desperate, louder, uglier, exposing himself while the target remains untouchable. To speak in such moments is to descend into the mud. To stay silent is to remain on the throne. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must learn to appear composed even in turmoil. Silence is that appearance weaponized. It suggests control, calculation, mystery. The attacker cannot tell if you are plotting revenge, if you consider him beneath notice, or if you are simply immovable. This uncertainty gnaws at him, breaking his spirit faster than any reply ever could. Picture the scene. In a hall, your rival hurls insult after insult, hoping to rattle you before an audience. The fool would answer in kind, creating a spectacle that diminishes him both ways. But your eyes remain steady, your lips closed, your posture unchanged. The crowd watches the imbalance unfold. One man raging, the other unmoved. Who looks stronger? Who commands the room? It is not the one shouting. It is the one who never needed to. Silence is not passivity. It is dominance. It starves anger of fuel. It forces the aggressor to reveal more than he intended. And when you finally choose to speak, after long restraint, your words fall with the weight of iron, because they are rare, deliberate, and unclouded by impulse. Machiavelli understood that appearances of control are more powerful than declarations of control. The man who rages looks weak, but the man who withholds looks dangerous. No one knows what he is thinking. No one knows when he will strike. And in that uncertainty lies fear. Answer provocation with silence, and you turn every insult into a mirror that reflects back on the one who spoke it. You reveal nothing, you lose nothing, and you preserve everything. The herd cannot grasp this discipline. They are addicted to noise, enslaved by reaction. Let them bark. You will not. Your silence will cut deeper than their words, and your composure will remind them all. You are above their reach. Anger blinds men. It consumes their judgment, weakens their discipline, and makes them reckless. A man burning with rage cannot think, cannot plan, cannot win. He lashes out, revealing his hand before the game has even begun. Machiavelli warned that passion is the enemy of calculation. To rule oneself, one must suffocate anger before it takes root. The tool to accomplish this is unexpected: gratitude. Do not mistake gratitude for softness. In the hands of the weak, it is sentimental nonsense, a mask for cowardice. But in the hands of the ruthless, it is a weapon, a counter to fury, a shield against despair. When everything seems to conspire against you, when betrayal or insult tempts you into blind reaction, gratitude reframes the moment. Instead of raging at what you lack, you recognize what remains under your command. Instead of burning energy on resentment, you fortify yourself with perspective. This shift does not make you gentle. It makes you untouchable. Picture the man trapped in traffic, late for a meeting that could shape his future. The fool slams the wheel, curses at the cars, drowns in rage. But the disciplined man breathes and recalculates. He still has a car, still has a destination, still has options. He wastes no time thrashing against what cannot be changed. His calm preserves his clarity, and clarity preserves his power. The herd is furious. He is already adjusting strategy. Who wins? Gratitude is not bowing to fate. It is claiming sovereignty over perspective. It dissolves anger because anger feeds on fixation. The more you fixate on what offends you, the more power it gains. Gratitude severs this loop, redirecting focus from the insult to the advantage. from the loss to the lesson, from the moment of weakness to the reservoir of strength still untouched. The enemy believes he has provoked you. Instead, you grow colder, clearer, more dangerous. Machiavelli knew that a ruler survives not by indulging emotion, but by mastering perception, first of others, then of himself. Gratitude trains you to look beyond the wound and see the opportunity hidden beneath. Betrayal reveals a disloyal ally. Good, now you know who cannot be trusted. Failure exposes a weakness. Good, now you know where to fortify. Mockery exposes envy. Good, now you know you are feared. With this frame, anger becomes unnecessary. You turn every strike into intelligence. The herd cannot do this. They fume, they sulk, they complain of injustice. They drain themselves fighting shadows. But the Machiavellian turns each misfortune into fuel. He thanks the storm for testing his walls. He thanks the enemy for revealing himself. He thanks hardship for sharpening his resolve. Gratitude is not about peace. It is about supremacy. When you weaponize gratitude, nothing can provoke you. Insults become empty. Betrayals become lessons. Losses become training. Anger withers because there is nothing left to feed it. You remain calm, not out of weakness, but out of ruthless calculation. You conserve your energy for strategy, not tantrums. And in that calm, you outlast, outthink, and outmaneuver every man enslaved by his fury. Gratitude in this sense is indifference sharpened into strength. It is the refusal to let the world dictate your state of mind. It is the recognition that so long as you draw breath, you still have power. And so long as you have power, you remain dangerous. The man who lives this way cannot be rattled, cannot be broken, cannot be baited into ruin. This is how gratitude serves the Machiavellian, not as kindness, but as armor. It starves anger, feeds clarity, and preserves dominance. With it, you walk through fire untouchable, while others burn alive in their own rage. Most men crumble under criticism. A harsh word wounds their pride. A sharp remark lingers in their mind like poison. They sulk, they defend, they explain, all in a desperate attempt to clear their name. They think words can diminish them, when in truth it is their reaction that does the damage. A man who cannot endure criticism without trembling is a man unfit for power. Machiavelli understood that criticism is inevitable. Enemies will hurl it to weaken you, allies will whisper it to restrain you, and the herd will repeat it because their minds are too dull to think for themselves. To fight every word is futile. It wastes energy, amplifies the insult, and reveals insecurity. The strong man takes a different path. He uses criticism as intelligence, as fire, as fuel. Consider the difference. The weak man hears an attack and collapses. What if they are right? He spends his nights brooding, his days defending, his future shrinking under the shadow of doubt. But the ruthless man listens with indifference. If the criticism is false, it is beneath him. If it is true, it is useful. In either case, it serves him. He discards the noise, keeps the lesson, and moves forward sharper than before. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both. Criticism is often a sign of fear, disguised as judgment. The more powerful you become, the more the weak will whisper and attack, for envy gnaws at them like rats in the dark. To be criticized is not always a wound. Often it is proof of rising above the herd. A man without critics is a man without significance. Picture the ruler who grows stronger with every insult. His enemies mock his decisions, yet he studies their mockery like reports from spies. Their complaints reveal their fears, their weaknesses, their blind spots. He adjusts, he sharpens, he hardens, and then he strikes where they never expect. While they waste breath criticizing, he wastes nothing. Their words become his weapon. This is the difference. Weak men react. Strong men extract. Every attack is information. Every insult is a window into another man's envy. Every harsh word is either a lie to ignore or a truth to exploit. Either way, it advances you. The more they speak, the stronger you become. The less you respond, the more they expose. The herd cannot fathom this. They burn their lives defending their honor against gossip, trading energy for scraps of reputation. But the Machiavellian sees reputation as a game of appearances, not validation. Let them speak. Let them sneer. Every insult that fails to shake you makes you more formidable in the eyes of others. Silence under fire creates the image of invulnerability, and invulnerability is feared. Criticism, when wielded correctly, ceases to be a wound and becomes fuel. It trains you where to fortify. It reveals who fears you most. It sharpens your composure before greater battles. And every time you refuse to bow to it, you prove you are not like the herd. You are the ruler they cannot sway, the predator they cannot provoke, the man who cannot be defined by their words. Do not kill criticism. Consume it. Digest it. Turn it into strength. In this way, the very weapons your enemies hurl at you become the stones with which you build your throne. Weak men cling to grudges as if clutching a burning coal. They tell themselves it is fuel for revenge, but all it does is scorch their own hands. They relive insults, replay betrayals, stew in imagined victories that never come. In truth, they are prisoners, chained not by their enemies, but by their own refusal to release the past.